What if I told you that even your best, most well-intentioned grape feeding in September could actually be its undoing? You're looking at that lush, green foliage thinking you're doing everything perfectly, but in reality, you might actually be setting your vines up for failure this winter. Today, we're going to uncover a fatal mistake that even seasoned gardeners often make, and I promise you, after this video, you'll look at fall grape care in a whole new light. This knowledge could save your future harvests. Let's get one crucial thing straight right away. For grapevines, September isn't a time for growth. It's a time to prepare for a long, cold dormancy. The plant shifts its priorities. Instead of pushing out new shoots and leaves, it needs to channel all its energy into hardening off the existing wood. This crucial process determines whether your grapevine will wake up and thrive next spring, and our job is to help it do just that, not to confuse or hinder it. So let's really dig into this. What's the main, fatal mistake that can truly undo all your hard work from summer? Picture this. It's September. The leaves on your grapevines are slowly starting to lose their vibrant green, with a touch of yellow creeping in here and there. What's the natural instinct of any diligent, caring gardener? Exactly. You feel the urge to fertilize to give the plant back its strength and that lush, vigorous look. And that's when your hand instinctively reaches for the most familiar and seemingly most effective solution: nitrogen fertilizers, fresh manure, chicken litter, ammonium nitrate, or urea. It all seems like the perfect remedy, but it's precisely at this point, driven by the best intentions, that you make a fatal error. You're essentially signing your vine's death warrant. This is mistake number 1, using nitrogen in the fall. Understand, for a plant, nitrogen is like a powerful energy drink. It's a command shouting, "Grow! Go! Go! Go!" It's screaming at the vine, "Come on, push out new shoots, build up green mass, now's your time." But in reality, nature is giving your vine an entirely different message. She's whispering to it, "Go to sleep, prepare for the cold, conserve your energy, harden your wood." And with your misguided fertilization, you create utter chaos within the plant. You confuse it, making it believe a second spring has arrived. This trap is particularly insidious because it preys on our best intentions. You approach your vineyard, lovingly inspecting it, and what do you see? Yellowing leaves. A gardener's heart sinks. Your first thought, "It's starving, it's struggling. I need to save it, and fast." We're accustomed to associating a plant's health with its vibrant green colour, and in summer, that's absolutely true. But come autumn, all the rules change. The yellowing and dropping of leaves in September isn't a sign of illness. It's a completely normal, healthy process. The grapevine is simply shedding its excess baggage, drawing the last nutrients from its leaves and storing them in its canes and roots. This is its natural preparation for a long winter's dormancy. And at this critical moment, you, with the very best intentions, give it a dose of nitrogen. For the plant, it's like dousing someone who's just drifting off to sleep with icy water and shouting, "Wake up!" Its entire natural program, geared for rest and dormancy, goes haywire. It receives a powerful jolt, a command it simply cannot ignore, a command to grow. Nitrogen is a powerful growth stimulant. For a plant, it's like a double espresso late at night. Upon receiving such a dose, the grapevine is essentially fooled. It gets the mistaken idea that the harsh winter has been cancelled and another glorious summer of sun and warmth is just around the corner. And what does it do? It immediately starts pushing out new, tender shoots. At first glance, it looks wonderful. The vine springs to life, covered in fresh, vibrant green foliage. You look at it and think, "Perfect, it worked. I've saved my plant." But in reality, you've initiated a destructive, even fatal process. While the old main vine should have been storing sugars, shedding excess moisture, and hardening into sturdy wood, these new babies are absolutely defenseless. They are succulent, fragile, and their tissues consist of 80 or even 90% water. They simply won't have enough time to mature and harden off before the first serious frosts. And this is precisely where the real danger lies, a ticking time bomb you've unknowingly set. Imagine this. It's already October, and your grapevines, misled by a late nitrogen boost, are still growing vigorously. They're covered in young, tender, vibrant green shoots. It might even look beautiful, but this beauty is a prelude to disaster. These new shoots are like soldiers sent into battle without armour. They are utterly unprepared for what awaits them. Full of cell sap, which is essentially water, they haven't had time to accumulate the sugars that act as nature's antifreeze, nor have they been able to form the dense, lignified wood that provides crucial frost protection. All the plant's energy, which should have gone into strengthening its older, established canes and root system, has been thoughtlessly wasted on this fruitless autumn growth. As a result, your grapevines will face winter in the most vulnerable state imaginable. It's like a house stripped of its roof and windows just before winter, left wide open to every wind and frost. Now let's talk about physics for a moment. Simple, yet utterly unforgiving. What happens when water freezes? That's right, it turns into ice. And what happens to that ice? It expands. This is an immutable law of nature. Then, the first truly freezing night arrives. Temperatures plummet below zero. The water engorging the cells of your young, unripe shoots begins to freeze. As these ice crystals expand, they act like thousands of microscopic blades, literally tearing apart the delicate cell walls from within. This leads to total tissue destruction at the cellular level. This process is irreversible. Even if temperatures rise the next day, the cells are already dead. You might not notice it right away, but come spring, when you visit your vineyard, you'll be met with a truly heartbreaking sight. Instead of vibrant, supple vines, you'll see blackened, lifeless, brittle canes that snap at the slightest touch. They'll look as if they've been scalded with boiling water. And this is the direct consequence of your autumn care. And the most devastating aspect of this situation is that it's not just the tender young shoots that often die. A late season shot of nitrogen forces the entire plant to switch back into growth mode. It simply doesn't have enough time to properly harden off its old perennial wood, let alone its root system, for the coming winter. The plant's overall winter hardiness dramatically drops. Left to its own devices, that same plant could easily endure temperatures as low as -20 degrees Celsius. However, after receiving a nitrogen boost, it might succumb to frost at just -10 degrees. You're not merely losing the next year's harvest, you risk losing the entire bush, one you've painstakingly grown and shaped over many years. Come spring, observing the dead plant, you'll likely attribute the loss to a brutal winter, a variety that wasn't sufficiently cold-hardy, or a poorly chosen spot. But in reality, the true culprit will be that very sprinkle of fertilizer you applied in September with the very best of intentions. This underscores the critical importance of understanding a plant's biochemistry and not being swayed by the deceptive vibrancy of autumn foliage. So, what does your grapevine really need in September? If nitrogen is the primary antagonist, then who are its allies? It's time to meet the true heroes of the autumn garden. These are two key macronutrients that operate in a fundamentally different way. Their names are phosphorus and potassium. Forget about boosting leafy green growth. Their mission is the fundamental internal preparation of the entire plant for the long, cold winter ahead. They don't push the vine upward, they strengthen it from within. These aren't sprinters, delivering a quick but fleeting effect. They are the marathon runners, building endurance and resilience. It's the precise balance of these two elements that determines whether your grapevines awaken in spring vibrant and full of vigour, or tragically remain in winter's eternal slumber. Shifting your focus from nitrogen to phosphorus and potassium is the ultimate secret to your vineyard's successful winter survival. Let's break down the roles of this pair individually, starting with phosphorus. If potassium is the superhero, then phosphorus is the wise and resourceful quartermaster. Its primary work in autumn happens beneath the soil, out of sight. It's phosphorus that truly stimulates the growth and development of the root system. It helps roots delve deeper and spread out, forming a robust network that will nourish the vine in spring. Furthermore, phosphorus is in charge of accumulating and transporting vital nutrients, primarily sugars and starches, from the leaves down into the canes and roots. It essentially orchestrates the creation of these food stores for winter. The better the root system develops in autumn and the more reserves it builds up, the stronger the plant's start will be in spring. Strong, healthy roots are the foundation for the overall well-being of the entire vine. Therefore, by providing phosphorus to your grapevines, you are investing in their future, in their very foundation. And now, let's turn our attention to the undisputed star of the autumn season, potassium. While phosphorus focuses on building reserves, potassium is all about protection, creating that crucial armor. Think of it as your vine's personal survival coach. Its primary mission is to help the shoots mature correctly, effectively turning them into wood. How does it do this? Potassium works by thickening and strengthening cell walls, making them more robust. It helps remove excess moisture from the cells while simultaneously increasing the concentration of sugars in the cell sap. And these sugars, as we know, act as a natural antifreeze, preventing water inside the cells from freezing into deadly ice crystals. A vine well supplied with potassium becomes significantly more resilient to low temperatures. You could say that potassium essentially dresses each shoot in a warm, impenetrable winter coat. It's thanks to potassium that a fragile green shoot transforms into strong, resilient wood, capable of enduring the harsh winter frosts. How can you tell if your grapevines are ripening properly and if their canes are truly ready for winter versus still at risk of damage? There are a few key indicators. A properly matured cane changes colour. From green, it will turn a light brown, straw-coloured, or even reddish hue depending on the variety. It will also feel warm to the touch, unlike the cool, often damp green shoots. But the most definitive test is the bend test. Take a cane and gently bend it. A well-ripened cane will emit a distinct, faint crackle or snap. This is the sound of its lignified or woody fibres. Crucially, it will remain pliable and won't actually break. However, if the cane bends silently, feeling rubbery and supple, it indicates too much moisture is still present and the ripening process is incomplete. This simple test is invaluable for assessing your vineyard's readiness and ensuring you're on the right track. A green, flexible cane in late September is a definite cause for concern. All right, with the theory covered, the key takeaway: nitrogen is a no-go, but potassium and phosphorus are essential. Now, let's get practical. So, what specific fertilizers should you be looking for at the garden centre? The absolute best option, the champion of autumn feeding, is monopotassium phosphate. Its formula speaks for itself. It contains only easily absorbable phosphorus and potassium, with absolutely no nitrogen, which is detrimental right now. Think of it as a concentrated elixir, perfect for winter preparation. Preparing the solution is straightforward. Use 10 to 15 grams per 10 litres of water. This amount is sufficient to water one mature bush, or it can be applied as a foliar spray. Foliar feeding, essentially spraying the leaves, works even faster since nutrients are absorbed directly through the foliage. This is the quickest and most effective way to deliver potassium and phosphorus precisely where they're needed. You can perform this treatment once or twice in September, with a 10 to 14-day interval between applications. No worries if you can't find monopotassium phosphate. There are plenty of other excellent options available. For example, potassium sulfate, also widely known as SOP, or sulfate of potash. This is another fantastic chlorine-free potassium fertilizer that works wonders for ripening grapevines. You can apply it in liquid form by dissolving 20-30 grams in 10 litres of water for irrigation, or dry by sprinkling it around the base of the vine, followed by gently working it into the soil and watering. Another helpful ally is wood ash. It's a natural source of potassium, phosphorus, and a whole range of essential micronutrients. You can use ash as an infusion. Simply mix 1 litre of ash with 10 litres of water, let it steep for 24 hours, then use it for watering. Alternatively, just sprinkle dry ash around the plant. about half a litre or roughly 2 cups per plant. The main thing to remember is that wood ash slightly raises the soil's pH, so be careful not to overdo it. It's time for our blacklist. This is a list of fertilizers you should avoid like the plague in September. Tuck them away in the farthest corner of your shed and don't bring them out again until spring. Topping this list, naturally, are fresh manure and chicken litter. These are absolute nitrogen bombs. Applying them in autumn is a surefire way to damage your grapevines. Next on the list are all mineral nitrogen fertilizers. Think ammonium nitrate, urea, and ammonium sulfate. Forget about them entirely. Even complex fertilizers labelled autumn on the package need careful scrutiny. Always read the NPK formula closely. If the nitrogen content indicated by the letter N is more than 5%, that fertilizer is unsuitable for your grapevines in autumn. Instead, opt for fertilizers with little to no nitrogen, focusing on those where phosphorus, P, and potassium, K, are predominant. Your careful attention to these ingredients is the key to healthy, thriving grapevines. Many gardeners, in their quest for natural methods, often make the mistake of assuming all organic fertilizers are inherently safe. However, this isn't always the case. Take, for instance, a popular herbal tea or green liquid fertilizer. It's essentially a rich source of readily available nitrogen. While it's a fantastic feed during summer, come September, it can be just as detrimental as chemical fertilizers like ammonium nitrate. The fermentation process releases a surge of nitrogen, which can trigger unwanted late-season growth. The same principle applies to compost, especially if it's not fully mature. It too can contain active nitrogen compounds. So remember this simple rule. In autumn, any feed that stimulates growth is harmful, whether it's chemical or organic. Nature itself signals to plants that it's time to prepare for dormancy, and we shouldn't interfere with that natural process. It's crucial to remember that the primary goal of fall fertilization for grapevines is drastically different from what you aim for in spring or summer. In summer, we feed our grapevines for the harvest, focusing on developing large clusters and succulent berries, promoting lush foliage and encouraging vigorous growth. In autumn, however, our objective shifts entirely. It's about helping the vine survive. This isn't an exaggeration. We're feeding it for survival. We're not looking for aesthetic improvements or outward beauty. Our aim is to strengthen it from within. All our efforts should be directed towards internal processes, building up nutrient reserves, promoting cane lignification, and fortifying the root system. This is an investment in the future. You won't see the results immediately, but in about 6 months, when spring arrives and the buds burst forth in unison, that's when you'll thank yourself for making the right choice back in September. There's one more small but crucial horticultural practice that works hand in hand with proper fertilization. It's irrigation management. Starting from late August to early September, you should gradually reduce watering your grapevines, eventually stopping altogether. Unless, of course, you're experiencing extreme drought conditions. A slight moisture deficit sends another powerful signal to the plant. Summer's over, it's time to prepare for dormancy. This encourages it to cease vegetative growth and redirect all its energy towards ripening the wood. If, however, you continue to heavily water your vineyard right up until the first frosts, especially in combination with nitrogen fertilizers, you'll create ideal conditions for the growth of watery, immature shoots that are guaranteed to perish in winter. So remember, less water and the right fertilizers. That's the formula for successfully preparing your grapevines for winter. So, my friends, please avoid this common mistake. Don't give in to the temptation to feed for green in September. Your true love and care should not be about forcing your grapevines to grow when they need to rest, but rather about helping them properly prepare for the harshest time of year. Put away those nitrogen fertilizers and instead give your plants what they truly need: phosphorus and potassium. Help the canes mature, gain strength, and build up their natural armour against the cold. By doing this, your vineyard will not only safely endure even the most brutal winter, but it will also reward you next year with a generous, healthy, and delicious harvest. Your patience and the right actions this autumn are the best investment in the future of your garden. And now, for the most crucial, almost shocking revelation, the biggest irony, that perfectly green, lush, and healthy-looking grapevine in late September or October is actually the most vulnerable to winter kill. The proud gardener looks at it, beaming with pride at their work. But in reality, they've cultivated a beautiful but utterly defenseless athlete, essentially sending it out into the frost in a summer t-shirt. The real winner, the vine that will actually make it through winter, it looks much humbler. Its leaves have already yellowed and dropped, and the canes themselves are brown and somewhat dry to the touch. Quite a plot twist, isn't it? Our intuition screams that green is good and brown is bad. But with autumn grapevines, it's precisely the opposite, and you won't see the consequences of this mistake right away. Throughout autumn, everything will look perfectly fine. But come spring, you'll simply find that the vine never woke up, and you'll blame the harsh winter, when in reality, the culprit was just one single incorrect feeding. So, let's recap. The golden rule for grapevines in September: cut out nitrogen and boost with potassium and phosphorus. Our goal isn't lush green foliage, but a well-matured, hardened vine, ready to withstand any frost. Don't be fooled by deceptive beauty. Thanks for sticking with us to the end of this video. I hope these tips were helpful and will save your vineyard. If they were, please give this video a like and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on other gardening secrets. Now, a question for you. How do you fertilize your grapevines in the fall? Share your tried and true recipes and methods in the comments below. Let's discuss.